Okay, similar to um, the death of the Disney Channel pop star from Honest. I'm guessing he's talking about just like how these channel stars have became who they were or something or some shit, or why they stopped producing pop stars, I guess, and um, maybe some attempts. I don't know, but we're gonna see what they're talking about. So let's get into this.
The Disney Channel Popstar is unfortunately for sentimental reasons, and in many cases, fortunately for ethical reasons, practically extinct present day. With the unpredictability of social media and living in a world that values content over the machine, it makes using a launching pad such as Disney Channel obsolete in today's society, and even unfavorable for many young artists who want to freely express themselves with more rigid and honest topics. A current day Olivia Rodrigo and Billie Eilish with their potty mouth snarls and unabashed sacral topics would not be able to be the artists they are under Disney Channel constraints. Even in a Disney Channel dominant era, younger artists who were more brash, such as Avril Lavigne, had a very notable gloss sheen over their image and music, not exactly being afforded the creative risks of someone like Billie Eilish, for example. There were a plethora of Disney Channel pop stars who missed the Disney machine at their prime, just before the internet became the absolute dominant figure in the music career paths for young people. Acts such as Sabrina Carpenter, Zendaya, Olivia Holt, and Bella Thorne saw their pop careers meander, stall, and eventually burn out altogether before they effectively established themselves as music artists. Sabrina Carpenter and Zendaya have gone on to make noticeable career moves post-Disney, but their pop careers never got to match the success of true golden Disney pop stars like Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, the Jonas Brothers, and Demi Lovato, who all became some of the world's most popular artists under the guidance of Disney. One thing you would not hear a golden Disney pop star be scared to admit is the overall lack of control they had over their image and music, which is not uncommon for most young stars. However, being under a brand that prioritizes and exclusively focuses on family-friendly content, I imagine it would be a bit harsher than your everyday label, especially taking into account that most of these artists had shows to coincide with their music careers and boost album sales. Miley Cyrus, for example, had her music career built up for her off the back of the show Hannah Montana, which focused on a young teen who lives a double life as a global superstar, which in many ways would become a real-life premise for Miley, as well as predict her future as a pop chameleon. But her earlier work was heavily restrained. Even her debut album, 2007's Hannah Montana 2, Meet Miley Cyrus, was released as a double album, which was a smart marketing move in helping Miley's official recording career take off. However, at that point, her career was still largely bound to the Hannah Montana character, and there wasn't a clear distinction between the worlds and their creative differences. But Miley, being the force that she is, would inevitably outsize the Hannah Montana brand, which is a feat that not many of her peers or predecessors have had the honor of doing with their leading shows, like Hilary Duff, for example. While it can be simply said that Miley has the X factor, her road to creative freedom was not easy, notably cracking the glass ceiling of her Disney image with 2010's Can't Be Tamed, and smashing it all together with her follow-up record, Bangers. But even when Miley was shaking things up with Can't Be Tamed, she didn't exactly seem pleased with the music at the time of its release, claiming that her newer material doesn't truly inspire her, and she worried that she would be blending in with everyone else, and expressed her desire to take a hiatus after the album so she could focus on music that she really likes. During the lead up to Bangers, she stated that she felt disconnected from Can't Be Tamed. This isn't unique to Miley. Selena Gomez famously discounts her entire recording career under Hollywood Records, referring to her album Revival as her true debut album, and her following album Rare as SG2, aka Selena Gomez's second album, even though she officially went solo in 2013 with her album Stars Dance, and prior to that had 3 albums with her group, Selena Gomez and The Scene. She even trashed her hit song Come and Get It, and said it sounded like a Rihanna reject, and it in fact was. Demi Lovato, on the other hand, sought to reimagine many of her Disney-era hits with rockier arrangements, in order to align with her heavier image on 2023's Revamped. The Jonas Brothers have notoriously always been songwriters and producers, even producing and writing for many of their fellow Disney peers. But it wasn't until much later that they got to dip their foot into adult pop. Hilary Duff, a trailblazer for Disney, arrived at the right exact moment with 2003's Metamorphosis, helping set the standard for the Disney singer model. But what followed was a wildly inconsistent recording career, with perplexing output. But she finally took the reins over her music career in 2008 with Dignity, co-writing every song and setting the stage for a moodier, darker pop sound. Not many if any Disney pop stars had a smooth transition into adult topics in their music. The image that was made for them most times wouldn't allow it, only setting them up for drastic and oft-shocking transformations. The Disney Channel model was very reminiscent of Sharon Studios, that had a monopoly over teen pop in the 90s, the creative team behind acts like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and Westlife. Sharon would often have songs ready to go, entirely written and produced, with session singers, so all their artists had to do was record vocals and go. Martin and his team worked more like a band that alternated singers, and it was the creative process behind albums like Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again, a method often reflected in a lot of the creative process for music in the golden age of Disney. I think we now live in an age where we can see the various amounts of interesting stuff teens can make if they are given their autonomy, but every case is unique. Historically, many young stars have sidestepped generic tween pop and came out as winners, such as Fiona Apple, for example. But ultimately, that isn't the path for everyone, and some young stars need guidance. I'd even go as far to say that some stars had better music, and a more focused, if albeit sometimes stale image than they do as adult stars with full creative control. For example, I like Selena Gomez in The Scene, early Demi Lovato, or even early Avril Lavigne songs. Although she's not a Disney Channel alumni, she lives within the same world, just a little edgier. Better than anything any of them have released as full-fledged adults with creative control. It might be manufactured, but it does manufactured well. That's not to say these artists don't deserve creative control, because every artist deserves that right. But I think it shows that being manufactured isn't always inherently the worst thing for an artist, especially when they are starting out. But it doesn't always make way for a smooth transition. Being a star on Disney Channel tends to set you up for a lifetime. To some degree, the stars who made it big on Disney will always have a built-in fan base, whether they grow with the entertainer or blindly support them out of nostalgia. They've made an imprint on fans' lives during the most pivotal moments of the human experience, childhood and teenhood. Many stars from the network have sold millions of records and experienced a whirlwind of success before they can even drive. They tend to become multimedia personalities as well, making it a little easier for Disney alumni to segue into different career paths. With all the success comes a lot of hard work, and while these stars are busy making an imprint on young people's lives around the globe, unfortunately they're being robbed of their own life and experiences in the process, never being able to experience a sense of normalcy, which often manifests into other ways as these stars get older, whether that be breakdowns, reclusiveness, or wild behavior, to showcase that they aren't and perhaps never were the images that were created for them. Recently, Miley's insane work schedule from that time period has been making rounds online. Beginning when she was around 12 years old, her workdays would extend for up to 13 hours at a time, encompassing her entire day. From filming the Hannah Montana show to doing various interviews, going to the studio, amongst other things such as photo shoots. Take into account that Miley would eventually do tours while filming the show and releasing albums. Full entire workdays. This is a sad reality for a lot of younger stars during that time period. Before internet, that type of work was often needed to achieve that level of visibility and success. And even if that wasn't the case at a certain point, you still have a brand to uphold and likely contractual obligations. And I think this type of transparency is needed, verbatim work schedules and all that it entails, because the public rarely gets to see this side of things. With the rise of the internet, the level of media interference and constant press runs is not as omnipresent. All things considered, it's remarkable that someone like Raven-Symoné, who has practically been working since she came out of the womb, before she even became a Disney darling, is still working to this day. She briefly retired, but she is one of
I
Disney's
didn't watch that
most
shit.
coveted legends, even returning to the network to do production and acting on her spin-off, Raven's Home, in 2017. She had a very loaded work life and had her hands in many projects, from her solo music career to the Cheetah Girls, which became an extremely popular series and helped the group sell millions of albums, and of course the iconic That's So Raven show. And that doesn't even account for the movies and shows she did for the network, such as College Road Trip, Kim Possible, the Tinkerbell franchise, as well as the entire Xenon series, just to name a few. She has been a constant mainstay at Disney, and as beneficial as it has been for her career, it obviously came with some pressure. Her being a young star is one of the main reasons she did not initially think to come out as gay. "I never thought I would come out because my personal life didn't matter," she said. "It was only supposed to be sold as, you know, a Raven Simone record." Disney Channel has given us a lot of nostalgic, simple, clean bops to look fondly upon, and given us some charismatic and talented stars, and some whose greatest moments truly come from their time on Disney Channel, and others who outsized Disney and became formidable forces on their own chameleonic drive. Disney Channel, at the very least, still has the power to give a platform to a rising star nowadays, as we have seen with people like Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, who got their starts on Disney, but their biggest successes in their recording career is completely detached from Disney and the Disney brand. Maybe there will come a day where the Disney
Kids don't
Channel
give a
model
fuck
is
about Disney
revamped
Channel
to
no more.
fit modern times.
They all on their
Because
phones,
youthful and
tablets,
PG entertainment is something that is important
TikTok.
for young people to
I don't
consume.
really give a fuck about that.
But with the way that times have changed, it seems unlikely that this form of Disney Channel pop star, with the selling power of someone like Miley Cyrus, and longevity of someone like Raven Simone, and visibility of someone like Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, etc., will ever be replicated again by the network. And maybe it's genuinely for the best. Doesn't mean we can't have a fondness for all those young, defining moments.
Well, that's the end of that video. Yep. Looks like Disney Channel is not gonna be making itself have any stars anymore come out of it like how it used to. Which isn't a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because a lot of the old Disney Channel schedules and old ways they, were putting these stars up for promotion, interviews, fucking a TV show back to back. That's just too much for anybody. It was a big marketing way they had back then that fucking put these stars into the ground. Like him saying Miley Cyrus since she was 12 having that schedule. Fuck no, that's way too much. That's way too much pressure. You're 12 years old and you're fucking working 13-hour days? No. That's too much. If that was happening today, Disney Channel would be canceled so freaking quickly if you're working all these little kids into the ground like that. No. So times have changed, thank God, because that's a lot. And then, yeah, I'm just glad that there's other ways artists can get recognized and doesn't have to be through Disney. Like Zendaya or who else? Oh, Sabrina Carpenter. They maybe didn't come up on the Disney route like how these other people did, but I mean they kind of did because they kind of branded themselves out in a way. Especially Sabrina Carpenter, her music wasn't, I don't think it was as big on Disney. Maybe it was, I could be wrong, but she's doing good off of it without Disney, especially Coco Jones. I heard that, but from the Let It Shine movie, she, it's kind of crazy how imitates life, because in the movie she didn't want to have to give herself away, change for people, whatever. And then I guess producers, whoever, they wanted to fucking change her image and all that, and she said fuck that shit and she left. And she released her own music, and over time she kept releasing, and then it finally blew up. So you don't have to be the Disney image anymore, which is good. You can just be yourself, it seems like. And yeah, so I'm glad that this era is over and people can just, you know, do what they gotta do. But I see you on the next video.